Hello everyone, welcome back to rFactor 2, where today we're returning to Low Fuel Motorsport's Alpine Cup. Once again, I've been put in the top split for this one, and I'm not going to lie, I'm finding the going tough. I've managed to get my lap time down to a 1:14.4 in qualifying, but it's only good enough for 20th position on the grid. That's nearly 2 seconds slower than the pole position man, Jacob Kowalski. We're racing Zandvoort's shorter national layout today. That means the track is going to get incredibly crowded, but it might help us stick with the faster guys in front. However, this is Zandvoort. Overtaking is always a challenge. Let's get down to the grid and see how we get on. Lights out and we're underway here at Zandvoort. A decent enough getaway there. It looks like we got a slightly better start than Gustavo Lacerda directly in front of us. So I'm going to move out to the middle to see if I can carry some of that extra speed around the outside of Lacerda. However, that might have been a mistake. We've left a gap up the inside, and that's going to allow Milan Vogelsang to dive through up the inside. Oh, we get a clout on the outside too from Siegfried Perez. So I was a little bit careless there. I've surrendered 2 positions to Perez and Vogelsang. That's put me down to 22nd. Look how wide Vogelsang is around this bank left-hander. He's trying to challenge Gerard Ockeritz for 19th, and it looks like he's got it. And now we're approaching this challenging National Circuit hairpin for the first time. There's no visible braking point. It's off camber. There's bound to be carnage. And there is. There's a car on its roof. That's Jose Maria Cardenas Arnedo. We take a big nudge from Gustavo Lacerda as we both try to run it out wide to get around that mayhem. I think we've lost Siegfried Perez in all that as well. There were definitely multiple casualties. However, most of them must have been behind us because we've only gained 1 position. That would have been Arnedo, who we saw on his roof in the middle of the hairpin. So we're up to 21st, still chasing Lacerda. And actually, there's a bit of a gap that's starting to open up between us. It's almost 0.7 of a second already. We've not even finished the first lap yet, so that's a little bit worrying. We're struggling to keep up with these guys in front already, but we're going to cross the line to end lap 1 in 21st position. No, we're going to be in 20th. I just saw Milan Vogelsang going into the pits. I did wonder if he jumped the start. I saw him creeping forward behind me in the rearview mirror just before the lights went green. Meanwhile, back to the live action. We've run it a bit wide into T1. We missed the apex there, braking a little bit too late, and that's allowed David Alba through. So our stay in 20th position was very short-lived indeed. Right, let's go back and check out the mayhem at the hairpin on lap 1. I just knew it was going to happen. It's such a tricky corner, and it only takes 1 person to make a mistake, and in this case, it's Gustavo Lacerda. He runs into the back of Jose Arnedo. That causes Arnedo to spin and roll the car. All the other drivers trying to avoid that wreckage. Several more spin off. Now riding on board with Lacerda. He's outbraked himself. There's the contact with Arnedo. Arnedo's into a roll by now, so Lacerda goes out wide to try and avoid it. Then he runs into the rear of the unlucky Siegfried Perez, so we lose Perez as well in that corner. And because it's so off camber, there are a multitude of ways to lose it. It looked like Perez was already spinning before the contact from Lacerda. Well, let's watch it one more time on board with Milan Vogelsang, because he probably had the best view of all, and it was actually Vogelsang who knocked Arnedo back onto all 4 wheels right here. And as Vogelsang escapes unscathed, we can look back and watch the devastation unfold behind. 3 more cars spinning out. Returning to the live action at the start of lap 3, we're about 0.6 of a second behind David Alba in 20th, and we've got a similar gap back to the driver behind, Frank Mossett. And there's a bunch of cars in front of us. They're all grouped closely together, so I'm hoping that's going to help me close this gap in a little bit, and we do get right onto the rear end of Alba through that hairpin. And I said before the start of the race that I was finding the going tough here at Zandvoort, and so it's proving. We're 3.5 laps in now, and we're still down in 21st position. That's 1 position lower than where we started on the grid. And given that we've seen several cars spin out already, this isn't looking promising for a good finish, but we'll keep plugging away. It's early in the race. We've still got 15 minutes to go. What's the gap looking like to Alba now? It's 0.5 of a second, so we've closed in by a couple of tenths. However, it looks like we're dragging Mossett along as well. Mossett just 5 tenths behind me. And we desperately need these cars in front to start fighting with each other. I think that's going to be our only hope to close in. The yellow flags are out at T1, and it looks like we've lost Danny Recchio. So that has promoted us back into the top 20. Well, here's what happened to Recchio in the orange car. He's defending from Michael Pachopian at the moment. Pachopian makes a move up the inside. Is there contact? No, it doesn't look like there is. Oh, and then Recchio takes a big whack from Erwin Schmidt behind. Not much Schmidt can do about that. Riding on board with him now, there's that contact. Approaching the end of lap 5 now, and this pack is getting visibly closer together. We're just 0.2 of a second behind David Alba in 19th, and look at Bossett behind. He's getting closer too, 0.4 of a second back to him now. And we've actually gained a position going across the start and finish line. Fulanito Alvarez in the pits, I'm guessing to serve some sort of penalty. Meanwhile at turn 1, there's a little bit of a gap on the inside of David Alba. Have we got the pace to make it stick into this upcoming right-hander? No, we haven't. We've got to back out of it. But this is encouraging. We're closing in on this pack now. A few laps ago I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to stick with them, but we have done, and now we're starting to fight with them too. And there's currently less than a second separating 17th from 20th. We're in the middle of it. Oh, we get a bit late on the brakes. I was worried that I might T-bone David Alba there. Thankfully we got away with it, but that was a close one. Yeah, I was a little lucky there that both Lucena and Alba ran wide at the hairpin, because when I clipped the curb right there, it affected my braking. I couldn't get it stopped as quickly as I wanted, and had Alba been on the apex, there would have been a collision. Start of lap 7 now. We're trying to find any advantage we can, trying to pick up some toe from David Alba, but to no avail. We're still behind the Spaniard at the moment. 0.3 of a second is the gap, and we just can't get any closer, or can we? Because he was a little bit out of shape through turn 1 there, so this is as close as we've been. There's not really any room to make a pass, but what we can do is apply some pressure and maybe force him into a mistake around this long left-hander. And as we exit, someone's lost it in front. That's Alex V Racing. It looked like he just ran it a little bit wide on exit and clipped that grass on the right, and that sent him careering into the barrier on the left. So that's given us another position. We're up to 18th, and we're all over David Alba now. And with so few passing opportunities around this track, we've got to take those freebies when they become available. And that one from Alex V Racing was gratefully received. But take a look in the rearview mirror as we come through this chicane. There's going to be another crasher, and this time it's Frank Bossett. And that's another big boost for us, because it finally gives us some breathing room behind. We can concentrate on chasing these guys in front. Right, let's take another look at these two crashes, starting with Alex V Racing, and as I suspected, he just ran it a little wide on exit, clips the grass on the left, and it sends him spinning hard into the barrier. Later in the lap, Frank Bossett makes a very similar mistake. He's going to clip the grass on the outside too. That's going to send him hard into the barrier. It looks like he's just about saved it, but then he loses it again, spins across track, and that's another big hit. We're rejoining the live action halfway through lap 10, because I want to show you a really stupid mistake that I made. I'm trying my hardest to chase down these guys in front when I get a pit alert, and that overwrites my relative board. Now, I've had this problem before, so I've set keys on my wheel to try and change it. I waited until I got on the straight, but then I pressed the wrong button. I switched my pit limiter on. I switch it off straight away, but by that time the damage is done. We've lost valuable time to the cars in front. So we're going to jump forward a lap now. I was facing a 0.8 second deficit to the group in front. Now it's doubled because of that mistake. It's 1.5 seconds. Now that's a gap that's going to be incredibly difficult to close down. So I think I've got a hope for mistakes in front, and we're going to get one here. Gustavo Lucena is going to run really wide at the hairpin. He's out onto the grass. Have we got the pace to get up the inside? No, we haven't. Lucena rejoins just in the nick of time, but now it's on again. Yeah, Lucena was pushing really hard to try and take that 15th position, and he actually made exactly the same mistake that I made a couple of laps earlier. He clipped that curb, and that completely messed up his braking, forcing him out really wide, but luckily for him, he rejoins right in front of me. The start of lap 12 now. We're still swarming all over the rear end of Lucena. We get right behind him into T1. He runs a little bit wide, but we just haven't got the grunt to get the car alongside him, but we're putting him under all kinds of pressure now. Later in the lap and further along the track, this is the battle for 7th. Juan Cafino currently holding the position, but he's under all sorts of pressure from Iago Saxo. However, Cafino is going into the pits. He's been given a penalty, so that's going to give us another position. We're now up to 17th place. Well, what can we do about that? There's only 3 minutes of the race remaining. However, we've got 15th position in our sights. David Alba is just 0.8 of a second ahead, and look how the cars bunched together coming through this hairpin. We might even be able to challenge Lucena here. Can we get the drive out of the turn? We can't quite pull alongside. So we're going to tuck back in behind Lacerda here as we come through this chicane. And 4 cars now all within 1 second of each other. How is this going to end over these final few laps at Zandvoort? We know that passing opportunities are limited, so it's either going to take something very special or it's going to end in disaster. Look at the cars in front kicking up clouds of dust as we work our way through the final 2 turns. And the yellow flags are out. Has there been an incident ahead? Will we pick up any more positions? So it doesn't look like we will. They've gone as quickly as they came out, so whatever incident occurred, it's been cleared. We haven't gained any positions. We're still in 17th, just 0.2 of a second to Lacerda in front. At least we don't have to worry about what's going on behind. Nasba, he's more than 5 seconds adrift now. But I tell you what, this steering wheel is vibrating aggressively. I think we've knackered our tyres. Have the cars in front. Only time will tell over these final couple of laps. As I exit this corner, I get a little bit wide. We're over the curb and onto the grass. I had to remember Alex V racing earlier in the race. I didn't want to make the same mistake as he did, so I had to lift off the throttle. That's going to cost us a 10th or 2, but we close right back in around this hairpin again. Lacerda was having a look up the inside of Alba by the looks of it, but there was nothing going there. He's tucked back in behind the 15th position man. So once again, we come through this chicane with barely a second separating all 4 cars. It couldn't be any closer with 1.5 minutes left to go at Zandvoort. And look at Lacerda, he's going to have a look up the inside of Alba. As he no, he's not. That's cost him some time. This could be our opportunity. Have we got room to tuck it up the inside through the final turn? It's tight. Oh, it's very tight. We didn't quite have the room, but we're going to pick up a toe. This is surely going to be our best opportunity to try and get past Lacerda. However, he's not going to move from that defensive line. We've got no choice but to go wide. Will Lacerda run it in too hot? Can we tuck it back up the inside? No, we can't. Lacerda's played the perfect strategy there, defending turn 1. So it's back to the drawing board for us. We're working so hard out there, but with very little reward at the moment. I just can't find a way through. Lacerda kicking up more dust. That's going to cost him some speed, but again, I can't find a way around here, even with more speed. All I can do is hope that my presence will put Lacerda under too much pressure and he runs wide into the hairpin, but instead it's us that runs wide. That's going to give him an advantage, and that might have blown it. Yeah, I was pushing as hard as I could, I was working as hard as I could, but still, I couldn't find a way past the Brazilian. This was as close as I got around the final turn, but even with the draft, there was no way through. And then another attempt at the hairpin, that didn't work either. Back to the live action. It looks like we're going to get 1 more lap at Zandvoort. There's confirmation that the clock has reached 0. However, yes, we are going to get 1 more lap, 1 more attempt to try and gain that 16th position from Lacerda, but at the moment we're 0.4 of a second behind. There's a lock-up by David Alba. I thought Lacerda was going to run right into the back of him. Look how wide he went through turn 1. That's cost him all of his advantage. I'm now right back on his tail again. That half a second gap has been wiped out. So this may not be over yet. We've got just over half a lap remaining. The gap to Lacerda is now 0.2 of a second. We're right on his tail. Who's going to crack? Who's going to feel the pressure? If there's a mistake to be made, it might well come at this hairpin. Let's see if we all get through it. Lacerda runs a little bit wide. There might be an opportunity for us to tuck it up the inside. We just can't get the power down quick enough. Well, I know it's never over until it's over, but I suspect this one might be now. We're still within 0.3 of a second of Lacerda, but I can't see any way that we're going to get around him through these final 2 turns. Even if we can get right on his tail out of the final corner, we won't have enough toe to get past him before the finish line. So it looks like we're going to have to settle for 17th position, but that's not a bad result in a top split here on Low Fuel Motorsport. The competition has been really fierce. I feel like I've had a proper workout. This wheel has been vibrating like you wouldn't believe for the best part of half a race. It's been really hard on tyre wear this circuit. But we've survived it, so let's check out the classified results. There we are, down in 17th position, and despite quite a low finish, we've actually only lost 3 off the rating, plus a healthy safety rating boost as well. We didn't pick up 1 instant point in that race. That is an achievement in itself. Probably the thing I'm most proud with from those results is my fastest lap, a 1:13.8. That's 0.6 of a second quicker than my qualifying time, so that's proof that we improved as this race went on. So that's it from another grueling Alpine Cup race in rFactor 2. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you did, please leave a like and let me know what you thought in the comments. I love hearing from you. Wherever you're racing for the rest of this week, good luck, and I'll see you back on the grid again very soon. Cheers for watching.